Alrighty, boys and girls. Hopefully this is not too loud for you because I cannot change this microphone to go any lower. Welcome back to the Mike Papakilo secondary channel. Mike come at you here with some really normie red pill stuff. As you guys can see in the title of the video, we're going to be discussing a little bit of this Out of Shadows official that dropped a couple days ago. It's like intro to Alex Jones. This is a documentary that I'm not real sure who organized it other than outofshadows.org, which I have pulled up here, which I would encourage you to pull up too. It's basically a documentary about how Hollywood is run by weird people, which is no surprise to most of you. And it's on Vice Gaming and Out of Shadows on YouTube. I'm very interested to see if YouTube's going to let this stay up, because it basically goes about exposing things that someone like me, who's been through the internet a couple times, was really already know most all of the stuff that was in this thing. They just organized it in like a entertainment kind of style for normies, basically. Kind of interesting how they put it together. Not real tied together all that well. There's a lot of information go on for basically what is an hour-and-a-half feature film. Yeah, it was a decent intro to the internet, as it were. I can imagine there's probably already people dismissing the sanctity, if you will, of this video. If you go to the outofshadows.org, it's got a really interesting background. It's a real typical setup of a website. It reminds me of 6 Hours website. I think there's a similar to this, where there's like a solid background image and you scroll over it. A lot of marketing wank looking stuff, but their About Us section says the Out of Shadows documentary lifts the mask on how the mainstream media and Hollywood manipulate and control masses by spreading propaganda through their content. Our goal is to wake up the general public by shedding light on how we all have been lied to and brainwashed by hidden enemy with a sinister agenda, which they never really name other than the establishment, which is pretty much true for the most part from my years of studying this wonderful topic. This project is the result of 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears by a team of woke professionals. I want to dismiss this whole thing when I read that, the woke professionals. It could have been a useful term, but low-level smooth brains have started using it and have been using it since it made mainstream. It's been independently produced. It's ironic that unwoke people use it, really, is the problem here. It's been independently produced and funded and is available on many different platforms for free, and you want to watch. Patriots made this documentary for the sole purpose of getting the truth out there. If you like the documentary, please share this video. You can support the team and future projects by making donations below. So if you go to the donate tab, it is just a generic PayPal button, which is totally not sketchy. If you go to their Facebook is pretty plain Jane. Basically, they posted all of the trailers on it, but I can't figure out who produced this. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where it went. I don't know where it came from, Cotton Eye Joe. But there's a couple people that they reference in related pages, Mike Cernovich being one of them, which is definitely not a wonderful reference, I suppose. The Out of Shadows documentary lifts the mask and how blah, blah, blah. So I have no idea where this thing came from. It's kind of sketchy that there's really no reference to who produced this thing. It just kind of came out of nowhere. And if you go to the trending page on YouTube, there are things with 2 million views from douche tubers, a Botticelli video, President Barack Obama, former president, but it says President Barack Obama endorses Joe Biden for president, which is a joke, of course. I'm sure they had to give him a very significant amount of money to do that. But this video isn't on the trending page, which is a lot of people's comments, because the video on Vice Gaming has almost 300,000 views, and Out of Shadows Official has almost 6 million views, and isn't on the trending. So that's pretty telling that this is some serious shenanigans going on by YouTube. But if I was YouTube, I wouldn't take it down, because that'd be very telling and fairly obvious censorship. But yeah, this is very strange. Very strange indeed. Scott Cleveland's here. Hey, Scott. You get to make it on the wall of shame before I exit this apartment tomorrow because I'm unemployed. Brandon James is here. What's going on, buddy? YOLO brother, says 13th Apostle. Hopping in the shower now. Get me going, you nasty. Will Jenkins is here. Hello. Edge is here. What's going on? Pro tip, share a link, bruh. This is Tactical Beard. Okay, I will do that. It's this is, like I said, this is basically a normie's guide to the red pill of the internet. So the timeline of this thing, if my memory serves me correctly, which it normally doesn't, it introduces this stuntman from Hollywood. And I was like, Alex Jones isn't a stuntman. He goes over how he's been involved in Hollywood as a stuntman for years, and they later bring in another stuntman. And then they go into how the stuntman broke his back, and somehow that's supposed to be related to this because his pelvic specialist was trying to heal him and pray over him. So it's like loosely tied to who Christianity's good. So it's like a very poor tie-in. And then it jumps to how he started researching this pedophilia, satanic blood cult that is Hollyweird, and basically jumps down the rabbit hole into the CIA, going into Paperclip and how that was the motivation for the LSD testing in the 60s, which was called something or another. Man, DuckDuckGo, you suck. It is not telling me. One of you guys know what I'm talking about? Yes, Beard, a pelvic specialist, because he broke his lower back and he was trying to go through physical therapy. Oh, you were making a dick joke. Okay, cool. What the heck is this? The LSD testing in the 60s. What was that called? They did movies about it. Men Who Stare at Goats, a couple others. Clockwork Orange. They actually put Clockwork Orange in this documentary. But like I said, it was just a real normie guide to the internet. And it's basically tying the CIA to Hollywood and MK Ultra. Finally found it. MK Ultra. And it's basically all these talking points that Alex Jones has been talking about since he released the Bohemian Grove thing. Bohemian Grove, Alex Jones, which I was actually introduced to Alex Jones by a coworker that I worked for in 2015. Older guy, basically homesteader, keeps bees, which is really cool. But Alex Jones launched, I think it was originally a VHS set. It's that old. But the wiki, the Bohemian Grove is a restricted 2,700 acre campground at 2601 Bohemian Grove and Monte Rio, California, United States, belonging to a private San Francisco-based gentleman's club known as Bohemian Club. In mid-July each year, Bohemian Grove hosts a more than 2-week encampment of some of the most prominent men in the world. see if we can find Alex Jones's reporting on this, because he did it a long time ago. In 2000, Jones and his cameraman entered the camp with a hidden camera and were able to film the Bohemian Grove. Okay, so it was in 2000 when he did that. So it's, like I said, it's nothing new, but yeah, it's kind of interesting that they're still trying to rebrand this to wake people up. But as I said, with all this stuff going on with the government overreaching their power currently, and how everyone's talking about the big igloo, unfortunately, normies just don't care. It's, people are so complacent. That's why I released that video when I got laid off. That was me leaving. That was me leaving the drive of my place of work, because I was just like, there it is, boys and girls. It's happening. Like, we've given the government so much power that they can shut down the economy. This is textbook socialism. My video, when is enough, laid off because of government and shit. This is all very strange times that we're seeing, and this was a very convenient time to drop the documentary. To someone who thinks critically like myself, I've always asked questions. I don't know why. That's something we've talked about on the channel before. But that was something that I did enjoy from this documentary, is that they brought up thinking critically a lot, because they brought up Pizzagate, which the mainstream media basically wrote off as internet memeing and trolling. And it was a conspiracy theory and wasn't really legitimate. So that's why whenever I see someone writing someone off in the comment section as a troll, or that they're conspiracy theorists, it's those people basically they drink the Kool-Aid and like, oh, we're going to dismiss you and just call you this name. So that really pisses me off. There's no nuance, right? I recently got into a Facebook fight with a prominent YouTuber that I'm still debating on, well, two prominent YouTubers, debating on doing a video on, because these are really big gun channels and they're milquetoast, right? That's why whenever you guys mention a big YouTuber for me to watch, when I ask which YouTubers to watch, it's all milquetoast nonsense. It's just like mainstream media to me. They're not telling us anything new, which I get. You got to have that milquetoast content to get people into shooting, but they're real big names, and they're real big names because normies like milquetoast content, and that's been a thing since the television was invented. Which, again, you guys know I don't watch television. I haven't for years. And the irony of the baby boomers, like especially my father, they will call it things like the idiot box. My father's called it that since I was probably cognizant enough to understand what he meant by idiot box, but he still watches it every day. I know most of my friends' fathers and mothers, they all watch the idiot box because it's what they've known their entire life. They don't question anything. They just get up and they go to work and they exist. There's no nuance. There's no critical thinking. Philosophy is something of the past. If you take a philosophy course in university, it's usually taught by some blue-haired TA that thinks everyone should be a leftist, and it's pretty pathetic. So it was nice to see something like this was released and it got so much traction in 3 days. But it was a little bit disingenuous, and it was really, really like cringy normie stuff. But much like those milquetoast YouTubers, we kind of have to have them around because you got to get people in the door somehow. But I was looking for something more through this entire thing because, like I said, Paperclip's not new, MK Ultra's not new, but I have to realize that the average human being is literally retarded in that they don't challenge their minds. So we have to be constantly reminded of this stuff. And people they really just don't know history, really. They don't know why the CIA was founded, or the FBI for that matter. And they don't realize how much influence they have in it, because the intelligence communities have shaped history more than you guys know. 1963 in Texas, something big happened because of intelligence communities. Let's just leave it at that. Oh, let's get back to the chat. DuckDuckGo is literally Google without the extra bullshit. Well, that makes sense why this video, when you search out of shadows, doesn't show up on DuckDuckGo if it's just driven by Google. No, I have no leads on a new job. I mean, I've got contractors calling me, but I don't want a contract job. TV was our internet. How fucked up is that? Yeah, it's like what YouTube is trying to do right now, really. It's the TV was filtered through all these medias to only tell you what they want you to hear, and that's why YouTube is censoring so many people right now. Is because they don't want that content being out there because they want to control the populace, and that's why milk toast douche tubers get all the views, because it funnels basically the children that make up most of the viewership. It funnels the children over there, so it's pretty sad. Ryan says I haven't watched TV for many years. My wife watches all those murder, death, kill shows. I think the biatch wants me out. I like the friggin' tiger thing that's going on right now. I haven't watched that horrible piece of television. I don't understand why white women are terrible, especially women in general, just watching all this garbage television. Like just the stuff. I mean, growing up, most of my friends in high school were girls, believe it or not. I couldn't take the homosexual jock mentality. That's basically what that boiled down to. And just the shit they would talk about on television, watching these murder mysteries or watching like Grey's Anatomy. Like every white woman's obsessed with Grey's Anatomy. Like I can only watch the same episode so many times before I go, all right, cool. What next? What are you gonna throw out as next? Because it's just like Dr. House. Like all those shows are the same. It's not driven by Google. It uses the framework without extra crap. Tiger King. This might be part of what you're talking about, but in the 50s or 60s, sign off of TV with the nation anthem. Dude, Apostle, you gotta like censor yourself. Yeah, the TV used to sign off with the national anthem right before it went to fuzzy. But yeah, that's some of the most fascist years in the United States from the 50s and 60s, right? It was either USA or you don't belong. And I mean, we're just as divisive now. It just happens to be that there's another side of the same coin and the same spectrum. It's we've got the extreme left and the extreme right instead of just the extreme right having the voice. Central intelligence in the 50s and 60s had a lot of power. And I mean, they still do. It's just they've taken a different approach to it. So they made us ein. Whatever that means. So here you go, Scott. This is your shining moment here. Get you stuck on the wall of shame. So if there's any new viewers, old Jay Trower is getting a 6 hour red dot in the mail. Oh, I'm dumb. That's backwards. So these guys have all donated $35 or more to the channel. So wherever I decide to live stream from after this, we'll put them up on the wall there. But there you go, Scott. But is that crooked? Yeah, it is crooked. Oh well. Yeah, the links are in the description. Whether you do it via Patreon or the Streamlabs donation link. Jay's getting Romeo 5 red dot. 13th Apostle's getting a nice AR-15 starter pack, and Scotty boy, I haven't found anything for you yet because I'm in the process of moving. So that kind of throws the brakes on things. I see it happening with social distancing, says Beard. What do you mean? You missed the bottom part about subliminal messages, he says. Yeah, I got that part. It's just the middle part. It just shut my brain off momentarily. Yeah, that was the pseudo-fascism that was experienced in the early days of television, signing off with that, which I'm all for nationalism, but you gotta balance that stuff out. And that's why I want to give credit to this documentary, is that they mentioned a number of times in the last third of the documentary to start thinking critically. It was just presented in a very weird manner that it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And I think that's my critical thinking, saying, well, I don't necessarily trust where this is coming from. And the fact that I go to their website, which I will link for you guys in the chat, And there's basically nothing at all as far as who funded this, where it came from. That's very strange. But yeah, if you go to the website, it's just the video linked, a silly God quote, all the videos for the trailers, the About Us, the Watch and Share, and the Donate tab that just goes to a PayPal link, which is very strange, but it's very odd indeed. And the other things that come up for Out of Shadows when you search it on DuckDuckGo is Out of the Shadow, which is a documentary about schizophrenia. Out of Shadows, which is a novel by Jason Wallace, which is completely unrelated. And then outoftheshadows.eiu.com, which is actually kind of related. It's shining light on the response to child sexual abuse and exploitation, which I'll go ahead and link to you guys, which is kind of an interesting tie-in. Marta Santos Pais, Special Representative to the Secretary General on Violence Against Children, United Nations. We can and we must protect children from all forms of sexual abuse and exploitation in all settings. Children deserve nothing less, which is funny coming from the EU, because I'm sure they're tied into this wonderful subliminal messaging just as well as the CIA is. Majority of their operations are in Africa, go figure. India, South America, one blip in Canada, and one blip in the United States, because it's all for the countries. So this is all very interesting how it's tied to the EU. So I don't know if this is an EU propaganda video or what the hell, because it's just very, very, very convenient that outoftheshadows.eiu.com is named the same thing as this documentary about child sex trafficking and a satanic death cult in Hollywood. 13th Apostle says, this might make you feel better. This might make you feel better, but right now I am only wearing a hat, you in my left hand, and a beer in my right while I dry off. Yeah, buddy. Dear diary, how do I get that out of my brain? Sincerely, Mike Pampakilo. Save that one for later. No, you can't have a shout out. You either contribute to the conversation or you don't get a shout out, bro. So yeah, that's cool. The other thing I wanted to discuss was the stimulus, because I haven't seen any nuanced critiques of that giant pile of shit. Not that I'm biased against the government at all. So let's go to congress.gov. So that's HR 6074. Go ahead and put that in the chat for you guys. Give me my payroll taxes back. Yeah, no kidding. All right, so HR 6074, the steaming pile of government trash, that which it is. So when you go to congress.gov, for starters, no one ever references these numbers and letters, combinations, whenever they write an article on it, whether it's Fox News or CNN. So that's pretty stupid. But public law number 116-123, which is March 6, 2020, Coronavirus Preparedness and Response Supplemental Appropriations Act, which this is a summary. It's a summary. That's what it is. So when you actually need to dig into it, you can go to the text itself and look for specifics there. And I found it earlier, but my one bad thing about the Brave browser is it doesn't save itself when you close it, which is extra cool. But just looking over the titles of this bill, Department of Health and Human Services gets a cut. Small Business Administration, disaster loans, which is, it's a loan. It's not like they're giving away money. I do think there is grants in here, though. Department of Health and Human Services, CDC, $40 billion in funds. Most of the money in this several $trillion bill is going back to the government, which is awesome. National Institutes of Health, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases gets $836 billion, which is awesome. Office of the Secretary of Public Health and Social Services Emergency Fund, that's $3 trillion. For an additional amount for Public Health and Social Services Emergency Fund, $3,100 billion. Or no, that's $3,100 million. Numbers hard. To remain available until September 30th of 2024. 2024 to prevent, prepare for, and respond to coronavirus domestically or internationally. So our money's not even staying here, including development of necessary countermeasures and vaccines, prioritizing platform-based technologies with U.S.-based manufacturing capabilities, and the purchase of vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics, necessary medical supplies, medical surge capacity, and related administrative activities, provided that such funds may be used to develop and demonstrate innovations and enhancements to manufacturing platforms to support such capabilities. Provide further note vaccines determination. So that's probably noted below. The Secretary of Health and Human Services shall purchase vaccines developed using funds made available for under this heading in this act to respond to an outbreak or pandemic related to coronavirus. So that's nice. Just throwing money at departments. General provisions. Funds appropriated in this title may be made available to restore amounts either directly or through reimbursement for obligations incurred by agencies of the Department of Health and Human Services, prepare for and respond to coronavirus domestically or internationally. Prior to the date of enactment of this act, this subsection shall not apply to obligations incurred by the Infectious Disease Rapid Response Reserve Fund. And that goes into deadlines for these funds, and it's basically just funneling more money in health and human services, not to us. Title 4 is Department of State Administration of Foreign Affairs for an additional amount for diplomatic programs, $264 million to remain available until September 30th, 2022 for necessary expenditures to prevent, prepare, and respond to coronavirus. United States Agency for International Development, funds appropriated to the President, Office of Inspector General, for an additional amount for Office of Inspector General, $1 million to remain available until September 30th, 2022 for oversight of activities funded by this title and administered by the United States Agency for International Development, provided that such amount is designated by the Congress and being for an emergency requirement. So more international money, not staying in the United States. More global health programs. Oh, that's cool. More $435 million to remain available until September 30th for necessary expenses to prevent blah, 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 coronavirus for the administrator of the United States Agency for International Development. So more money going overseas. International disaster assistance. International. Another $300 million. Economic Support Fund, $250 million to remain available until September 30th, 2022 for necessary expenses to prevent, blah, blah, coronavirus, including to address related economic security and stabilization requirements, provided that such amount is designated Congress, blah, blah. And that is Balanced Budget and Emergency Deficit Control Act of 1985. So the general provisions title, Section 401, funds appropriated by this title shall be made available obligations subject to regular notification procedures of the committees and on appropriations of the House of Representatives, Senate, provided that the requirement of this section shall not apply to funds appropriated by this title under the heading International Disaster Assistance, or more international. Cool. Lots and lots of international aid for coronavirus is all we've found so far. So that's really cool. So no mention of a check from the government yet. I had it highlighted earlier. I can't remember what it was highlighted under, but basically from what I understood about it, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is it's just a $1,200 tax advancement on next year's taxes. So you're going to have to pay it back. But I can't find it now, which is cool. I can't find it. So that's really cool. So it's not like we're actually getting our money back. And I think the only amendments were made by the man himself, Mr. Paul from Kentucky. So his action was made the day before this was signed into law. Motion to table amendment SA 1506 agreed to in Senate by yay nay vote 81 to 15. And is to rescind unobligated balances for certain international programs to offset amounts appropriated in this bill or respond to coronavirus outbreak. So our Lord and Savior Rand Paul saved us a couple mil from going overseas. But that is about it, boys and girls. So that's really cool. Really glad that the United States government's looking out for international people and not us. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm going to search through the dollar signs here and see if I can find anything related to a $1,200 check for individuals, because I think that's what I did earlier. All I'm finding is the millions of dollars they're sending overseas. But yeah, we're not only a welfare state for us now. We are now the daddy of the world, giving people money for a flu. Nope, I definitely cannot find it. That's super cool. Unless it's buried in a different bill and that I don't know about. Damn, I'm official, so Scott Cleveland. Supposedly the loan turns into a grant if used correctly. Guess we'll see about that. I doubt it. You have to pay tax. Yeah, you also have to pay tax. It's just like unemployment, right? So I had to file for unemployment because I'm unemployed and I'd like to get some of my tax money back, but that is from tax money, right? That's part of the wonderful welfare country that we've become. So that money's grabbed out of a tax pool and then they give it to someone on unemployment, but not before they tax again. So this is how the government set itself up to be the cash cow that it is. They're taxing money twice, and they do that on several occasions. It's pretty preposterous. Scott Cleveland says, so like all the other bills, fuck us, let's help everyone else. Yes, that's correct. You really didn't think this money is free. Can't believe I voted for these people. Yeah, everyone's bought and paid for by the time they make it into office. It's pretty sad. Pretty goddamn sad. So there are 10 titles in this thing. And in none of them could I find anything about what we're getting. So if I find it, I'll put it in the Discord, which I'm sure everyone here is already in. But if there's anyone who stumbles upon this live stream in the future, there's a link to the Discord. But yeah, needless to say, this is pretty stupid. Because this bill was introduced to the House on the 4th of March. It passed the House on the same day. And it was amended in the Senate by Senator Paul on the 5th, and then presented to the president on the 5th, and then signed into law on the 6th. People say there's no such thing as a bipartisan effort, so long as we're sending money overseas. Clearly there's a bipartisan effort there. So that's cool. And the only person who tried to stop sending all of the money overseas seems to be Rand Paul, and his attempt was courageous yet feeble, unfortunately. Drastically outnumbered. So yeah, more doom and gloom for your Corona Chan days. Other than completely tearing apart my apartment, making it look like more of a slum town. Hopefully we'll have some really awesome content for you guys in the library.tv, which I might as well link in the description too, because that's where all of our content is going that isn't sponsored content. I'm only going to be putting sponsored content on this channel. Library TV's got a little ways to go, but it's much better than BitChute. I will give it that. BitChute is a giant pile of garbage. I think BitChute's been around longer. So here is the channel for all the new stuff. And if you guys would be so kind, if you have any free time, you can go through the old channel here. This is all of our, most of our stuff, all the stuff that wasn't flagged by YouTube when this transfer was made. It took 7 days to make this transfer complete from YouTube to library.tv. And that's why you haven't seen a whole lot of original content from you, old Mike Papakilo, because I've been trying to carry everything over to library.tv and BitChute. And thankfully, library.tv's got an actual tool that can do it for you in the background. BitChute does not, so I have to do that manually, and that sucks. So pretty neat stuff. So yeah, watch the documentary. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's just red pill for normies. It's nothing really new. It doesn't really get down into the dirty details like I wanted it to, but like I said, sometimes this milquetoast stuff is necessary. But I wasn't impressed by it. I'd give it a 4 out of 7. Yeah, right. Like that 13th Apostle. That's why I've been telling people to follow the VCDL if they have Facebook, because yeah, it's there's actually a lot of protests going throughout the United States right now. And there was a picture from Raleigh Police Department telling people they should not be out in public and protesting. And someone commented on their Twitter feed, I think, said, "Why are people not allowed to protest?" And they responded, "Protesting is not an essential action," or something. So that was real 1984 of them. So they have no concept of optics, that's for sure. So no sense of awareness at all. Pretty sad. Police departments across the United States are like that. Go to any state police department, they're all bootlicking retards. That's pretty much how it's been for the last 20 years. I do like the local sheriffs in Virginia standing up for the Virginians' rights to bear arms, and the one that said he deputized anyone that he needed to keep their right to bear arms. But unfortunately, not many cops are like that. It's pretty sad. It's just like people in the military nowadays. People in the military are just there to get daddy government to give them free health care in college. Like after that, they're pretty much indoctrinated, because that's all they've ever known. I know plenty of older millennials that aren't that way, but then again, I do know baby boomers that suck the government teeth and think they can do no wrong that have been in the military. So, I mean, it's nothing new. That's the problem. It's nothing new. Surprised they didn't get the fire hoses. Yeah, like 1965. Yeah, that's a good point of reference, I suppose. So I got nothing else. I'm completely exhausted. Moving sucks. Being unemployed sucks. Not being able to bring you guys original content really sucks. I miss editing videos. I haven't edited a video in quite a while. That Henry video I edited, threw together yesterday just to get it done. Still a crap gun, but it's a crap gun that shoots properly now, so that's cool. But other than that, we got more Stuger products to review. It looks like the Duty Project's going to be suspended for a little bit because I don't have any money to buy guns now. USPSA and 3-gun are just a pipe dream at this point, because all of the USPSA events for last month have been canceled, and 3-gun events are getting canceled. So that really sucks. But yeah, not a whole lot of positivity coming out of this channel recently. It really sucks. As Scott Cleveland says, keep your head up, bud. Yeah, I wish. And the press broke. Thank you, Beard. Yeah, the 650 broke. I I did get a response from Dylan, however, because basically everything that they sell has a lifetime transferable warranty. So I contacted them yesterday morning, and this guy named Gary Kieft, 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 who works for Dylan, responded, and I clarified what had broke. And at 3:30 this afternoon, he said, "I'm mailing a replacement ring indexer and brass tip set screw to you," which is really cool. So, just fun fact: if you're a Dylan product, after 100 rounds, if the center shoulder bolt tightens too much and doesn't allow your table to rotate, there's actually a set screw in the side of the pillar that I didn't know about that keeps the shoulder bolt from walking. And basically the table rotates clockwise, so that means it's tightening down that bolt as it goes. So if you run it too long, it actually tightens that bolt down and will seize up your table. And presumably that's what caused this indexer to break, which every 100 rounds I get the Allen wrench out and loosen it. But I looked at the schematic, and there's actually a set screw that you got to tighten down so that bolt doesn't tighten up. So, and like I said, it's a lifetime warranty. So after about 3,000 rounds and resizing about 5,000 rounds of 223, that managed to break. So I have to look into that and do another video on that. Tell them to send 5, says Tactical Beard. I don't think that's how warranties work. You can go on their website and buy 4 more, but I think they're $12 a piece and $8 shipping. And the fucking press broke. Just stare at the trilogy behind you when you need inspiration. I'll get right on that. It's all a test to see how well martial law will go when they spring that on us. I mean, who says this is going away? I mean, there's a lot of governors doubling down on it. It's getting ridiculous. And there's no one's going to do anything about it. They've pretty much proven that by now. They could shut down the government and turn the economy into trash, and no one's going to do anything about it. It's pretty sad. Pretty goddamn sad. I really want to find that verbiage in this stupid fucking bill, though. The Coronavirus Preparedness and Response Supplemental Appropriations Act. What a stupid name. So yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, edge it will end. Just depends on how and on what terms. How many more freedoms can they take from us? They hate us because of our freedom. Some crazy guy will do something. That won't do any good for us. That'll just make us lose more rights. It has to be an assembly of people to do something to make it more legitimate. And even then, that can be illegitimized by our wonderful media and all the mouth-breathing, smooth-brained white women that watch the media. Like, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of dudes of all creeds and colors watching the media, but most of the shit that I see online is stupid old white women telling the governor's doing a great job by taking away our rights. Statistics, folks, how do they work? Yeah, you need enough people all at once. That's pretty much it. I got nothing else, boys and girls. I'm pretty much toast. I am well worn from society and all of its wonderful curtails of bullshit. If you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, or topics you want to talk about, just drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to get off here in about 2 minutes. Stay hydrated, folks. Stay hydrated, my friends. In other news, I sold a lot of guns this week. So that's cool, I guess. A lot of people pulling that. So when the world ends, I'm coming to your house, right? Wink. And it's just me going, no. Social distancing is a cure for society. How do you figure? It's sad boy hours, right? Meow says Tactical Beard. That it is. Got my documentary in for the year, though, so that's nice. Got that out of the way in April. This time last year, what was I doing? I already shot with Jerry Mitchellek, who is releasing clickbait like it's nobody's business on YouTube. Let's look at the Mike Papakielo YouTube channel and see what we were doing last year. Shall we? Well, I think it was just USPSA training for the most part. I think I'm going the wrong way. Yes, I'm going the wrong way. I'm a big old dummy. There's September of 19. July, June. A lot of USPSA training videos in mid-June. Holy crap. End of June was Spartan 300. If that gets canceled, I am just eating. May, we had some more 9mm Mania, more USPSA training videos. 9mm Mania. Oh, we were at the NRA convention. Duh. The thing that got canceled because the government thinks they can shut everything down. That's what we're doing in mid-May or mid-April last year. Boy, that definitely brings my spirits up knowing I can't go to the NRA. Mossberg MC1, Taurus TH9, Full Auto videos, Jerry Mitchellek videos, Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. Oh, the controlled burn was a year ago, Beard. Livestream on the Jerry Mitchellek thing, which is now on Patreon. Diamondback AM2, Canic TP9 SFT, more USPSA training videos, the Stuger STR9, and more NRA videos. So yeah, that's what was going on last year. I had that conversation with someone. I blatantly said, no, that's not going to happen when they asked if they can come to my house in the event of a breakdown. Get that weekly. Get that weekly. Beard says he's going to use all of his essential money to make a bug out bag. No, yeeting, not skeeting, you nasty. You have to have somewhere to go. Have you got that covered? We will dig a hole in the hillside and become the Viet Cong. That's what we're going to do. I guess, is there any videos you guys want us to do that would cover some sort of, no, stop doing the skeeting, you nasty. Cover some sort of provisions for if and when you have to bug out? Because everyone and their brother has done that. I mean, that's something that's been drilled into the ground on YouTube more than once. We're not a prepping channel, so it's not really up our sleeve. It's not part of our repertoire, as it were. I've always wanted to do prepping foods, just eating stuff straight out of a can to see how we'd rate it as far as nutrition goes and power to weight ratio. I always thought that'd be cool, but I don't think anyone would watch it, and it's just a lot of production that I don't want to have to set up. But definitely, this weekend is going to be a lot of gun shooting, hopefully some fire building, and some beers around a campfire, which sounds pretty nice. And hopefully some better camping later on in the year. Because, the government shuts down campgrounds, even though social distancing, campgrounds are pretty much the perfect place to go. Merrick Kong. The Americong. Okay, I just got that. What was that? That reminds me of a meme. Oh, it was about the Ewoks on the forest moon of Endor. Or the Lorax talking to the trees and the trees speaking back. Memes are funny. That's the gist of that. I was about a legit preparation video, just sitting in the corner for 15 hours with alcohol and all your guns. In the knee-high white tube socks and boxer briefs, I'm in. How about bugging out for stupid people? You mean going to Walmart and buying all the toilet paper? Beard says he needs a new handle for his axe. You know, they sell those on the internet every day. That is a thing you can buy. And on that note, I'm going to shut down the stream, you son of a bitch. Wow. Axe handle gang. All right. As always, check out the links in the description. Big thanks to all of our sponsors for sticking through us in this wonderful time of YouTube censorship. Definitely start watching us on library.tv because, like I said, that's where all of our stuff is going to go, not just our sponsored stuff. But that's in the links in the description. As always, don't ride that slide home.